Having recently grabbed a handful of the G.I. Joe Retro Collection figures to display out of the box on the shelf, I thought I might take this G.I. Joe 25th anniversary Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow comic 2-pack out of its packaging to display those loose on the shelf as well to kind of fill it out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up and display this thing out of its packaging. And I'll also read the comic. Although I think I have this original version of this comic in my collection. Anyway, to the unwrapping. I think they look pretty good. I think they'll look good on the shelf next to the retro collection figures. I will say that having them in that package for so long, is particularly how they were positioned in the package, I think it didn't do any favors for the plastic. You can probably notice that Storm Shadow's leg looks a little warped. Also, Snake Eyes' one leg is a little loose. And if you can tell, some of his accessories, like that holster, some of the stuff on his body seems a little like it doesn't want to hang naturally because it's been in this position in that package for so long. So I would say if you pick up one of these 25th anniversary figures, they're quite old, but you can still find them on eBay. Just expect they might not be in the best shape once you pull them out if they are in those comic 2-packs, because they're positioned in, well, at least these two, I'm sure some of the other ones, are positioned in like action poses. Okay, well, that's it for these two. All right, here is opening up G.I. Joe Retro Collection Cobra Trooper and Robert Grunt Graves. I found Grunt on Walmart, and I think that was about, I don't remember, under 15 bucks, I believe. And the Trooper on eBay, and that was also around the same price. All right, here we go. All right, I think they look pretty cool. The Cobra Trooper, his rifle is a little bent up from the being inside the plastic, but I think heating that up probably fix that. I really like how posable these guys are, and how all their little accessories kind of have a place. So there's a pistol. Grunt there has a pistol, his rifle, a backpack, that knife, and our Trooper, he has his rocket launcher, his rifle, and a knife, and then a handgun. And they both have the removable helmets. And these guys are super posable, and that they come with these stands, you can kind of put them in pretty cool action poses and stuff on the shelf. All right, on to the next one. All right, here are a couple more finds. On your left is a 25th anniversary comic 2-pack of Destro and Breaker that I found for a pretty good price on eBay. Just showed up. And also showed up today is the G.I. Joe Cobra Hiss 3 with the driver Rip It, which I purchased through Hasbro Pulse. Now let's open these up and see how they look. All right, so first up is Breaker and Destro out of their packaging. I am going to read that comic. It's not one I've read before, so at some point I'll do that. But about the figures, well, positives and negatives, I think, for this bunch. So this is from the 25th anniversary. After opening up a few of these and opening up a few of the retro collection, I do believe that the retro collection clearly has some advantages over the 25th anniversary in terms of just overall figure quality. That said, I think that these are pretty cool figures. Let me just look at the Destro first without putting my hands into the screen. I'll note one thing that I think is always weird is when, if you can notice, he has two pistols. One fits in a holster, one has no holsters. I always think it's weird when a character comes with handguns and only one holster. Kind of like Casca Reeves from the Black Series line. She had that one holster, and then I guess she's expected to just carry the other one around with her everywhere she goes. So that's a similar deal here with this Destro. Another negative about the Destro is there's no articulation in the wrists. They're just kind of frozen in that position that they're in from the mold. Also, the outfit is, kind of not the classic color, but I knew that going in. I picked up this version because I wanted a Destro to go on my shelf, but I didn't want to pay aftermarket prices for the retro collection Destro. And the 25th anniversary version of Destro in his regular colors is also a little bit more than I wanted to spend, especially with the inclination going in that the 25th anniversary figures, I don't believe in general are at the same quality as the retro collection. So I went ahead and I purchased this one. I would say for the cost, I'm happy with it. I'm happy to have a Destro that's a kind of a different variation than the regular release or the classic version that we all know and love. And he'll work good on the shelf and he'll serve his purpose just fine. So even though I think there are a couple of things about the figure, particularly the wrists, I think that's my bigger gripe of any. I think he's solid. I think he does look cool. I like his kind of bluish purple kind of outfit he has on in this one. And yeah, I would say overall I would give the figure, comparing it with other 25th anniversaries I've seen and retro collection, I would give him a solid 7 out of 10. All right, so moving on to Breaker. I always like the G.I. Joe figures that kind of look more like regular army guys. So Breaker, if we're thinking about the old line, Clutch, who else? Zap, the old Hawk. I like those guys. So I like having a figure that's kind of reminiscent of that old, just kind of basic army looking guy. Things I don't like about this figure, well, unlike Destro, he does have wrist articulation, but the lines at the wrist are so gappy. They're so apparent. I think it would have maybe been better if they would have given him gloves to obscure that line in his forearm to his wrist. Also, I kind of like where they were going or like what they were thinking. They added this little kind of peach colored bubble that you can attach to the end of his microphone, which I believe is supposed to be like he's blowing bubble gum, because I believe in the cartoon he was known for chewing bubble gum. So I kind of like how they added that effect in there. That said, I think it's a little bit weird that it plugs in over his microphone. So I'm not sure that I'm going to use this accessory when he's displayed on the shelf, but I do think it was a cool idea and I like the creativity. I would say overall, he's also a solid figure. No real complaints with this one, that except for those lines in the wrists. I will say this other thing about Destro, I almost forgot. his head is really tight and he has no up and down or anything. It's just side to side and it's super tight. So I don't plan on moving him around a whole lot. I'm going to find his position in the display. It'll probably stay like that for quite a while. So it's not a big deal, but if you want to have a lot of range of motion, he also maybe has a negative point on that one as well. Breaker, his neck moves pretty well. He articulates pretty well. The little comms piece on his helmet sometimes wants to fall off, but if you just kind of get it in his position and you're leaving him in a display, it probably won't be a problem. Okay, and next up. All right, now this is one that I've been kind of waiting for and like kind of looking out for when's it going to get here. And putting it together was pretty easy. Um, you have to put the decals on yourself, obviously, if you can tell, or by looking at them. So you have to put the decals on yourself, if you remember from putting any of these GI Joe vehicles together before. So I tried to make sure they were all pretty much even and lined up. They're not perfect, but it's fine enough for me. I think it's a cool looking tank, very reminiscent of the one I had forever ago when I was younger. And it comes with our figure here, Cobra Trooper Rip It, which honestly, I kind of think the design's a little goofy. I would, if I were in charge of the line, I probably would have picked well, they had the regular Hiss driver come out with the other Hiss tank. They came out before they put out Hiss Tank 3. So I get it to use a different character. So he's basically the original Hiss driver, which was in red with the black legs, then a different color, and then they gave him a different code name. So it's all fine and understandable. That said, I think the original driver has a better color scheme. I think the red bracelets around his wrists and the red belt are a little silly. But he's cool. Another trooper, add him to the mix. I don't hate him. I just think he looks a little goofy. That said, he's not terrible. I'm happy to have him, but I really bought this for the tank and not the figure. And I'm happy to have another troop, and I'm happy to have the tank. And again, pretty easy to put together. You just might want to be a little more careful than I was with the decals, or not. I don't think I did a terrible job, but they're definitely not 100% straight. And they don't 100% match up from one side to the other. I know to get them to match up perfectly might be a little painstaking, but it is doable. All right, there's Hiss Tank 3 with Cobra Troop Rip It. And here's Cobra Commander from the G.I. Joe Retro Collection. He showed up today. This one also came from the Walmart website. I think he was about $15, which is about regular retail price, if I'm not mistaken. All right, let's open this one up and see what he's all about. All right, there he is. I think he looks really cool. So the first thing that happened when I took him out of the packages, his head popped off. But I was able to pop that back on, and his helmet is removable, which is it's kind of funny to see him without his helmet on, because it's not like his whole helmet is removable, just the top piece. So he's just a silver little oval head. What else? His gun pegs into his back just like the original figure from the vintage line, the original line. Articulation seems pretty decent. I think the color is good. I think they did a really great job with this figure. So yeah, I think they did a really good job with this one. He has the little removable knife that goes in that little sheath on his leg. It's really just a huge upgrade. In my opinion, it's just a huge upgrade from that original Cobra Commander from the first line. All right, and here is another one that I was excited to get in the mail. Um, Ordered this off of, where did I order this? Hasbro Pulse. Uh, I like Hasbro Pulse. I mean, a lot of the times, if you don't get things quick, they don't have them. They sell out stuff pretty quick. But um, all that aside, they had this. Um, so we have here the Cobra Fang with enemy pilot. And I'm kind of excited to get into this thing. So let's see what we have on the inside. So I had the pilot out of the package for about 5 seconds before breaking his arm in half. So that wasn't very awesome. I think his joint was a little stiffer than I would have liked it to have been. And the little peg to the joint is super thin. My opinion, probably could have made this guy a little bit better. But then again, I've noticed a lot of these figures for this retro collection aren't as the range of articulation isn't really what it could be. I don't think. I think they're overall like pretty cool figures, but yeah, that arm snapped off. Like I was just trying to bend his elbow, and elbow did not bend at all, but that peg broke right in half. So I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of glue and do my best to try to not go overboard. I'd like to just glue that peg back together and see if it can move again after that, but I would doubt it. So I'll probably just glue his arm back on and leave him alone. So that's a little bit disappointing. All right, there he is. I got it all together, glued his stupid arm back on. I don't think there's going to be much movement in that elbow moving forward. There's no way I was going to just glue the little dot of the peg that broke. So looks like he's going to just be in that kind of bent elbow position, but his shoulder will move, so I guess that's fine. Also, I don't really plan on doing a whole lot with this guy besides letting him sit in his little helicopter, so is what it is. A bit disappointing. The Fang helicopter, pretty easy to put together. A lot of little decals to put on there. It comes pretty much all in one piece. You just need to put the helicopter blade into the slot on the top, and then add the missiles and the bomb, and then just a buttload of decals, which, you know, if you enjoy trying to stick tiny little stickers on the things, have at it. If you're more like me and it just becomes a little bit frustrating, well, don't buy this toy, I would say. All in all, I would say that the toy is actually kind of cool. It very much reminds me of the one from back in the day. I think the figure looks really cool. I just wish his arm wouldn't have broken, because I feel like that probably would have been, out of my tiny collection of 3.75-inch G.I. Joe figures, I think he would have been my favorite because he looks dope. But now I feel like I hate him because his arms broke. All right. All right, and here is the last one that I'm going to open up for this video. So I picked up this lady Jaye from eBay. I was pretty happy for what I got it for. It was, after all said and done, it was like right around retail, maybe like $1 or $2 under. And then took a long time to get here, got twisted up in the mail. And then when I finally got it, I was like, huh, this is an oddly put together box. And also an odd size box for what I'm expecting. And then lo and behold, the seller decided it would be cool to just smush the carded figure into a box too small. So I would have been quite unhappy if I was buying this to display on card. Uh, I did have the thought of saying something in comment or in the feedback, but I decided I'm just not going to leave feedback on this one. Um, yeah, but come on, guy. If you're going to sell carded figures on eBay, get boxes that they fit into. Just a little word to the wise. All right, let's see how this thing looks when it gets open, and let's hope I don't break any of its arms or legs off. All right. And there she is. Um, I do think it's a pretty cool looking figure. Legs are easily articulated, or let me rephrase that. The legs, knees bend easily, no problems there. Her little spear gun fits in her hand nice and well. I do like that she comes with those extra machine guns, so they're a good addition, I think. If you see there's straps on her over her shoulders and belt that attaches to a small backpack, which does not come off, or it doesn't peg in like most of the backpacks. I guess you could take off those straps and everything if you're careful. I don't know. I haven't tried. I'm not going to. Her left arm, elbow, did seem a little stiff. And really, I didn't even want to mess with it after my experience with the pilot. That said, I will play with it at some point and see if I can bend the elbow. But really, I don't want another glue job on my hands. So all in all, I think these retro collection figures look really cool. Their articulation could be better. I mean, I know it's not a 6-inch figure like I'm used to. These 3.75-inch figures, smaller parts. I wonder, I'm probably not going to buy any, but I do wonder about the O-ring figures, because I remember like back in the day, these figures did not have these issues with their joints and making it being challenging to just move their elbows and shoulders and all that. That said, these are built in a different way than those old figures. The plastic is a little more rubbery in some spots. The joints are a little stiffer in some spots. Some figures move really well. Other ones feel really stiff. So yeah, that's about it. So I think these mix of retro and 25th anniversary collection figures are going to look good on the shelf. But I personally wouldn't really recommend moving them around a whole lot or doing a whole lot with them. I feel like it's kind of, you find a good pose, you find a good display, and then you set it and forget it. Otherwise, you're playing with fire if you don't want to break their arms and legs. Just last night, I was trying to put the Cobra Commander figure in a different position, and his shoulders, whenever I moved it up and down, it gave a good snap. They didn't break, but it didn't sound great either. So I'm really thinking once I have these all sorted out in their little display, I'm probably going to do my best to never move them again. All right, there it is.